Stop for a moment and breathe. Forget the grammar rules. Forget the fear of mistakes. Forget everything they told you about learning English, because today we're doing something different. This is not a class. This is not a lesson. This is an awakening. You see, your English is not lost. It's not broken. It's just asleep. And today we're going to wake it up together. If you've ever felt nervous speaking, if your words get stuck, if your heart races every time someone asks, "Do you speak English?" This is your moment. In the next 60 minutes, we're going deep. No boring rules, no dry exercises, just 12 real moments from daily life. The conversations that actually matter. You'll speak about your mornings, your weekends, your job, your feelings, even your pets. But more than that, you'll feel the language. You'll start to think in English. You'll realize that English isn't just something you study. It's something you live. And you won't need thousands of words. You won't need perfect grammar. You only need this, a habit, a rhythm, a tiny spark inside you that says, yes, I can do this. So listen closely, speak loudly, and most of all, trust yourself. Your English journey doesn't start today. It starts now. Let's begin. I open my eyes. It's 6:45 a.m. The alarm already rang 3 times, but I didn't hear it. I sit up slowly, rub my eyes, and stretch my arms. My room is quiet. Outside the window, I hear a few birds and a car passing by. It's a new day, and I feel tired, but I know I have things to do. I walk to the bathroom and look in the mirror. My hair is a mess. My eyes are still sleepy. I wash my face with cold water. Then I pick up my toothbrush and say to myself, okay, let's start the day. As I brush my teeth, I start thinking, what's the plan today? Do I have a meeting? Did I reply to that email? Too many thoughts. But I take a breath and say, one step at a time. I go to the kitchen and put water on the stove. It's time for tea. While I wait, I clean the counter a little. Then the water boils. I make my tea, add milk, and take the first sip. It's hot, strong, just the way I like it. Then I open the fridge. There's some bread and butter. I toast the bread, spread the butter, and sit at the table. This moment is peaceful. I drink my tea and eat my toast slowly. I don't check my phone. I don't rush. I just sit and whisper to myself, thank you for this day. After breakfast, I check my to-do list, send email to boss, finish report, pay electricity bill, call mom. I smile and say, all right, I've got this. Then I walk to the closet and pick out clothes for the day. A clean shirt, dark jeans, and my favorite watch. I get dressed and feel ready. Before leaving the house, I look in the mirror again. This time, I smile. You look okay, I say. I grab my bag, take one last sip of tea, and step out the door. The day has begun. It's 7:35 a.m. I walk out of my house, lock the door, and take a deep breath. The sun is just rising, the air is fresh, and the road is quiet. My shoes hit the pavement slowly as I walk toward the bus stop. I reach the corner where the same old tea stall is open. The man behind the counter smiles at me. He says, morning, sir. Your usual? I smile back and reply, yes, 1 coffee, please. No sugar. He nods and starts preparing it. As I wait, I hear 2 people talking behind me. One man says, traffic was terrible yesterday. The other replies, tell me about it. I was stuck for 45 minutes. I turn slightly and join the conversation. I was stuck too. It's always the same on Mondays. We all laugh quietly. The coffee is ready. The man gives me my cup and says, careful. It's hot. I thank him and take a slow sip. The first sip wakes me up. Strong, spicy, perfect. After finishing the coffee, I walk toward the bus stop. There's a young woman already standing there. She's holding a file in her hands, dressed formally. I nod politely and say, "Morning." She replies, "Morning." We stand in silence for a few seconds. Then she turns and says, "Do you know if bus 34 already passed?" I check my watch and say, "I don't think so. It's usually late by 5 minutes." She smiles and says, "Thank you. I'm going for a job interview." "First one." I nod in reply. "Good luck." "You'll do great. Just speak with confidence." She laughs nervously and says, "I'll try." I'm still working on my English. I say, "You're doing fine. Everyone starts somewhere. Don't worry." Just then, the bus appears in the distance. She sees it and says, "There it is." Thank God. We both get on. The driver says, "Exact change only." I take out my card and beep it. She hands over her money and finds a seat near the window. I sit beside her and say, "So, what kind of job are you applying for?" She replies, "Receptionist." It's in a small office. Basic work, answering phones, greeting clients. I say, "That's a good place to grow, and you get to practice English every day." She smiles and says, "Yes, that's my goal, to improve my English and become more confident." The bus moves forward slowly. We pass a busy market. She looks out the window and says, "Do you take this bus every day?" I reply, "Almost." "I work in a marketing office near Metro Plaza." She nods and says, "Oh, that's near my interview location." Then she turns and says, "Can I ask you something? How did you learn to speak so naturally?" I smile and say, "I used to be afraid to speak. I made so many mistakes." People laughed, but I kept going. Every morning on this bus, I listened to English podcasts. I repeated sentences in my mind. I didn't stop. "That's it." She nods slowly. "That's inspiring. I hope I can do that too." I reply, "You already started. Just keep going." The bus driver suddenly calls out, "Metro Plaza, stop." I get up and say, "This is my stop. Good luck again." She smiles and says, "Thank you, and thank you for the encouragement." I wave and step off the bus. As I walk toward my office building, I think about that short conversation. I remember how scared I used to be, afraid of speaking, afraid of judgment. But now, I'm helping someone else feel braver. That's what growth looks like. It's 8:55 a.m. I walk into the building, swipe my access card, and enter the elevator. The doors close. I'm alone for a moment. I take a deep breath and whisper to myself, "Let's make today a good day." As the elevator climbs, I go over my mental checklist: emails, morning meeting, the report I didn't finish yesterday. Plenty to do. I step out on the 7th floor, marketing department. The office lights are already on. Some people are at their desks. Some are in the kitchen corner making coffee. I greet the first person I see. "Good morning, Alex." He turns and smiles. "Hey, morning. You're early today." I chuckle and say, "Trying to be productive before the chaos starts." He laughs. "That's smart. Coffee's still hot if you want." "Thanks," I say and walk toward the break area. As I pour myself a cup, I hear two colleagues chatting behind me. Sophie says, "I was on Zoom till 10 p.m. yesterday." And Jenna replies, "Again? You work too hard." I turn and say, "Wow, Sophie, that's some dedication." She smiles and says, "Or poor time management." Still figuring that out. We all laugh. I walk back to my desk with my coffee, open my laptop, and breathe. Just then, my manager, Thomas, walks by. "Morning, Leo. Can I see you in my office for 2 minutes?" "Sure," I reply, a little nervous. I follow him into his cabin. He closes the door and says, "I read your client report from last week." I sit up straighter. "Okay," he continues. "I want to say that was solid work, especially the section on customer feedback. It was detailed, practical, and sharp." A wave of relief washes over me. "Thank you," I say. I was worried it might be too much detail. He shakes his head. No, that's what we need. You've improved a lot since your first month here. I nod and say, I've been trying to work on my communication. English used to be my biggest fear. Thomas looks at me seriously and says, I didn't know that. Honestly, you speak clearly and confidently. That's what matters. I smile and say, I used to write everything down. I still do sometimes. Practice phrases, repeat sentences. It helps. He replies, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It shows. Then he adds, one more thing. I'm assigning you to the presentation next week. My heart skips a beat. The one for the European clients, he nods. You'll lead it with Sophie. I think it's time you took the lead. I pause for a second. I want to say no. I want to say I'm not ready. But I remember the old me, the one who stayed silent in every meeting. And I say, I'll do it. I'll give it my best. He smiles. Good. That's what I like to hear. I leave the cabin and return to my desk. Sophie walks over with her coffee and says, So, I heard we're teammates now. I laugh and say, Looks like it. Presentation for the big clients. She says, You'll do great. Just speak slowly and clearly. You already sound professional. I reply, Thanks. I've been practicing. I even speak to myself at home sometimes. She laughs. I do that too. My cat thinks I'm crazy. We both laugh. Then I open my laptop and start planning, slide by slide, word by word, sentence by sentence, because I know every conversation, every small effort, every practice session, it adds up. I wasn't born speaking fluent English. I didn't grow up with perfect grammar, but I showed up every day. And now I'm speaking, sharing, leading, and so can you. It's Friday afternoon. The clock on the wall says 3:17 p.m. The office is quiet, but you can feel the weekend energy in the air. Emails slow down. People start to smile more. You hear chairs moving, phones clicking, and someone quietly humming. I close my laptop, lean back in my chair, and take a deep breath. Then I hear a voice behind me. Hey, Leo. Got any exciting plans for the weekend? It's Emily, my coworker from the creative team. She's holding her coffee and smiling like she already has a secret plan. I turn around and say, Nothing too exciting. Maybe sleep for 12 hours straight. She laughs. Sounds like heaven, but seriously, doing anything fun? I think for a moment. Well, I say, I might go hiking on Saturday. There's a trail just outside the city I've been wanting to try. Emily nods. Hiking? That's cool. Alone or with friends? I'm going with Daniel and Michelle, I reply. We planned it last month, but the weather was bad. This time it looks good. Just then, Daniel walks over, tall, energetic, always hungry. Did someone say my name? He asks, grinning. Emily rolls her eyes playfully. We were just talking about your big hike tomorrow. Daniel says, Oh yeah. I've been looking forward to it. I even bought new hiking boots. Super expensive, but totally worth it. I say, let's hope they don't fall apart on the mountain. Daniel chuckles. If they do, I'll sit down and wait for you to rescue me. Emily laughs. That's not how hiking works, Daniel. Then Michelle walks in. Hearing the laughter, she says, Let me guess. Daniel's already making excuses not to hike. He raises his hands dramatically. False accusations. Michelle laughs and says, Anyway, I can't wait. Nature, fresh air, and finally a break from screens. I nod and say, Exactly. I just need to disconnect. No email, no messages, just trees, birds, and long walks. Emily leans against the desk and says, That actually sounds amazing. I might try something new this weekend too. Like what? I ask. I've signed up for a pottery class, she says. Daniel smirks. Pottery? Like making bowls? Yes, Daniel, Emily replies, making bowls and plates and whatever I want. Michelle smiles. That sounds peaceful. I think it's great to do something creative outside work. Emily nods. I just want to try something that's not digital. You know, something real. Something with your hands. We all pause for a second. Then I say, that's the thing about weekends. They remind us that we're not just workers, we're people. Michelle nods. I agree. We spend all week typing, talking, solving problems. The weekend is the only time we can actually feel human again. Daniel jumps in. Except when your mom asks you to fix everything in the house. We laugh again. I say, that's true. Every time I visit my parents, suddenly I'm the tech guy, the grocery guy, the electrician, and the taxi driver. Emily adds, same here. I love visiting home, but it's never relaxing. Then I say, but still, it's home. We all go silent for a moment. Michelle changes the topic. What about Sunday night? Any Sunday plans? Daniel says, I'm cooking. I promised my girlfriend I'd make dinner. I'm still searching for a recipe that doesn't burn. We all laugh. I say, start with pasta. You can't go wrong with pasta. Emily adds, unless you forget the salt and cook it for 40 minutes. We laugh again. Michelle looks at her watch. Okay, I need to send one last email before I can escape this place. Daniel says, I'm already mentally out the door. Emily finishes her coffee and says, enjoy your weekends, everyone. No overthinking, okay? Just live. I smile and say, that's the plan. It's Saturday evening. The living room is quiet, but only for a moment. Suddenly, the door opens and 5 people rush in carrying bags, balloons, and a box of decorations. Emily says, okay, we have 1 hour before Leo arrives. Let's move. Michelle drops her bag on the couch and says, where's the tape? I need to hang this banner. Daniel holds up the cake box and says, I'm not moving until someone clears a space for this masterpiece. Jenna laughs and says, you mean that lopsided cake you bought at the last minute? Daniel raises an eyebrow. Excuse me, this is a handcrafted double chocolate fudge cake made by professionals. Sophie says, let's just hope Leo doesn't drop it like last year. Everyone laughs. The room quickly turns into a party zone. Balloons on the walls, streamers across the ceiling, snacks on the table, music low in the background. Michelle says, do we have candles? Jenna replies, yes, and a lighter, but who's going to switch off the lights when he enters? Sophie says, I will. I'm closest to the switch. Daniel looks around and says, guys, I can't believe we're doing this for the 3rd year. Feels like yesterday. Emily smiles and says, time flies, but some friendships are worth celebrating. The clock hits 7:30 p.m. Michelle whispers, he should be here any second now. They all go silent. Then the door opens. Leo walks in slowly, holding a small bag of groceries. He looks around and says, why is it so dark in here? Suddenly, surprise, the lights come on. Everyone yells, claps, and laughs. Leo drops his bag and freezes. What is this? He asks, half smiling, half shocked. Emily steps forward and says, happy birthday, Leo. We didn't forget. Leo looks around. Decorations, cake, music, candles, people he loves. I thought you guys were all busy, he says. Daniel walks over and says, we were busy, planning this. Leo laughs. You didn't have to do this. Sophie says, that's exactly why we did. Michelle hands him a birthday hat. Put this on. It's tradition. He puts it on and says, I can't believe this. You made my whole week. Emily lights the candles and says, make a wish and don't say it out loud. Leo closes his eyes, smiles quietly, and blows out the candles. Everyone claps again. Daniel cuts a piece of cake and says, okay, open your mouth. We're feeding you first. Leo laughs and takes a bite. Wow, he says. This is really good. Daniel proudly says, told you. Masterpiece. They all sit down on the couch together. Jenna says, so, how does it feel to be older? Leo replies, honestly, I feel lucky. Not because of the birthday, but because of all of you. Michelle adds, you're not just older, Leo. You're wiser, stronger, and definitely more emotional. He smiles and says, I used to hate birthdays. Too much attention, but this is different. Emily says, this is not about attention. It's about appreciation. Sophie adds, you show up for everyone. You work hard. You never ask for anything. So today, we show up for you. Leo sits back, touched by their words. Daniel says, now open the gifts before I take mine back. Leo laughs. There are gifts too? They hand him small wrapped boxes. Nothing expensive, just thoughtful things. A new notebook, a mug that says, keep going, a framed group photo from 2 years ago. Leo opens the last box and finds a handwritten note. He reads it out loud. Dear Leo, you may think you're just ordinary, but to us, you're the reason Mondays feel better. You're the one who reminds us to keep going, and today, we want you to know you matter. Happy birthday. Leo looks up, eyes slightly wet. He says, I don't know what to say. Thank you, for everything. Emily replies, just promise us one thing. Leo asks, what? Michelle smiles and says, don't ever disappear on your birthday again. He nods. Deal. They raise their glasses. Sparkling juice, soda, whatever they have. Daniel says, to Leo. Everyone echoes, to Leo. And just like that, a simple evening becomes a moment they'll remember forever. It's Sunday afternoon. The cafe is half full. The weather outside is beautiful. Soft clouds, warm light, and a quiet breeze through the trees. Leo sits near the window, sipping an iced coffee, notebook open in front of him. He's working on a personal project, something about memories. Then the door opens and a familiar voice says, there you are. I thought you'd be late. It's Julia, his old friend from university, back in the city after 3 years abroad. Leo smiles and stands up. I'm never late for coffee, especially when the person's been missing for 3 years. Julia laughs and hugs him. It's good to see you again. They both sit. Leo asks, so how does it feel to be back? Julia looks around and says, strange. The city looks the same, but it feels different. Leo nods. That's because you've changed. The city didn't. Julia smiles and says, maybe. Or maybe I just forgot how loud it is here. They both laugh. Leo stirs his coffee and says, you remember that street near the river? They've built a new bridge. It looks amazing at night. Julia raises her eyebrows. Really? We used to walk there after class. I remember the old lights, the broken benches. Those benches are still broken, Leo replies. Some things never change. Then Julia says, tell me something. If someone asked you, what's the best thing about this city? What would you say? Leo thinks for a moment. The rhythm, he says. This city doesn't sleep. It moves fast, but somehow it also listens. Julia leans in. Listens? Leo nods. Yeah, like it lets you cry without asking why. It lets you dream without laughing at you. You can be invisible or you can shine. Your choice. Julia sits quietly for a moment, then says, that's beautiful. I never thought of it that way. Leo looks out the window. You know what I love most? The sound of the early morning when the streets are still quiet and the sky is just starting to wake up. You hear one bird, one car, and the soft sound of life returning. Julia smiles. That's poetic. Leo replies, it's real. She sips her drink and asks, what about food? What's still your favorite thing to eat here? Leo grins. The street corn with lemon and salt. Still unbeatable. Julia laughs. You haven't changed. He replies, neither has the vendor. Same spot, same smile. Julia says, I miss the night markets, the lights, the music, the smell of fried food, the people. All kinds of people. Leo replies, they're still there, crowded as ever. But now they play soft jazz on Fridays. It's calmer, warmer. Julia leans back in her chair and says, I've lived in 5 cities in the last 3 years. Big ones, fancy ones, clean, fast, rich, but they didn't feel like this. Leo asks, why? She answers, they had roads, but no stories. They had buildings, but no people, not like here. Here, the walls speak. Leo smiles and says, that's what I always tell travelers. If you want to see beauty, visit a postcard city. But if you want to feel something, come here. Julia says, I wish more people knew this. Leo replies, that's your job now. You've seen the world. Now you tell it what home really means. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Julia says, let's take a walk. I want to see everything again. Leo closes his notebook and stands up. Let's go. I'll show you the new bridge and the old trees and the same cafe where we used to sit with no money and big dreams. As they leave the cafe and walk into the city, the scene slowly fades, but the conversation stays in the heart. It's late afternoon. The sky is cloudy and the wind is gentle. Leo puts on his jacket, grabs a reusable shopping bag, and walks toward the local grocery store. He doesn't like shopping, but today he feels calm, slow, ready to enjoy the little things. As he steps inside the store, the door opens with a soft chime. Bright lights, soft music, the smell of fresh bread. A young woman is near the entrance stacking apples. She looks up and says politely, Good afternoon, sir. Let me know if you need any help. Leo smiles and replies, Thank you. I'm just looking around for now. He grabs a small cart and walks down the first aisle. Fruits and vegetables. He picks up an avocado, checks its softness, and says quietly to himself, Still hard. Not ready yet. Suddenly, someone taps his shoulder. It's Daniel, his friend from work. Daniel says, Leo, you shop here too? Leo replies, I do now. What a surprise. Daniel points at Leo's cart and says, That's the healthiest cart I've ever seen. Are you planning to open a salad bar? Leo laughs. Trying to eat better, fewer chips, more colors. Daniel holds up a pack of cookies and says, Well, I'm here to destroy my diet. These are my weakness. They walk together to the bread section. Daniel says, I always get stuck here. So many options. Whole wheat, multigrain, sourdough. What do you usually buy? Leo answers, Depends. For toast, I go with sourdough. For sandwiches, I stick to multigrain. Daniel nods. You sound like a bread expert. Leo laughs. Too much YouTube cooking, that's all. They continue walking. Leo stops near the dairy shelf and says, Do you know if almond milk is better than oat milk? Daniel replies, Oat milk is creamier, but almond milk is lighter. Try both. Leo grabs both and tosses them in the cart. Then Daniel says, I always forget one thing every time I shop. Leo says, That's why I make a list. Daniel pulls out his phone. I make a list too. Then I forget to check it. They both laugh. An older woman nearby overhears and smiles. She says, Happens to me every week. Leo smiles back and says, I think it happens to everyone. Then he turns to Daniel and says, You know what I love about shopping? Daniel raises an eyebrow. No lines? Leo says, No, the small moments. A quiet song playing, a stranger's smile, a child laughing in all three. You're alone, but not lonely. Daniel looks thoughtful. You always see the deeper side of things. Leo shrugs. Life teaches you when you slow down, you start to see. They walk toward the meat and frozen section. Daniel says, I usually avoid this part. Too much plastic. Leo replies, Yeah, I try to buy fresh when I can. but sometimes convenience wins. At the checkout, a young cashier greets them. Hello, did you find everything okay? Leo replies, yes, thank you. Daniel puts his cookies on the counter and says, and I found things I didn't even need. The cashier smiles and scans the items. She says, do you need any bags? Leo replies, no, I brought mine. Trying to reduce waste. She nods and says, that's great. Thank you for doing that. As they wait, Daniel looks around and says, I used to hate grocery shopping. Now it feels like therapy. Leo smiles. I think it's because we're not rushing anymore. Daniel replies, maybe, or maybe we're finally growing up. They pay, thank the cashier, and walk outside. The wind feels softer now. The bags feel lighter. Daniel says, so what are you cooking tonight? Leo replies, vegetable stir-fry. Maybe a little soup. Daniel raises an eyebrow. You're officially an adult. Leo laughs. Only on Sundays. They wave goodbye and walk in different directions. And as Leo walks home with his groceries, he doesn't feel tired. He feels full. Not just with food, but with peace, with clarity, because sometimes the simple moments, the soft music, the small talk, the smell of oranges, that's where the real life hides. It's Friday night, 7:15 p.m. The restaurant is busy, but not loud. Warm lights, soft music, clinking glasses, quiet conversations. The smell of garlic and grilled vegetables floats in the air. Leo walks in with Emily and Daniel. They've just finished a long week at work, and they promise themselves one thing: no cooking tonight. A waiter near the door smiles and greets them. Good evening. Table for 3? Leo nods. Yes, please. Right this way, the waiter says. They follow him to a table near the window. Daniel says, nice view. You can see the whole street. Emily replies, I'm just here for the food. They sit down. The waiter hands them menus. My name's Alex. I'll be your server tonight. Let me know if you have any questions. Leo says, thank you. The waiter walks away. Daniel opens the menu and says, this place is fancy. Everything has a name I can't pronounce. Leo laughs. Just pick something with chicken. You can't go wrong. Emily scans the menu. I'm craving something creamy, maybe pasta, but I also want something spicy. Leo teases. You want creamy and spicy? That's a dangerous combination. Emily smirks. Life is short. Daniel points to something on the menu. What is tagliatelle al limone? Leo says, it's pasta with lemon cream sauce. Daniel replies, I'm ordering that. It sounds expensive. They all laugh. The waiter returns. Are you ready to order? Leo says, can we ask a few questions first? Of course. Emily asks, is the spicy chicken pasta very spicy or just a little? The waiter says, it's medium, but we can make it mild if you prefer. Emily nods. I'll take it medium. And can I get that with whole wheat pasta? Absolutely, the waiter replies. Leo says, I'll have the grilled salmon with roasted vegetables. And could you add a side of mashed potatoes? Sure. Anything to drink? Just water for me, Leo replies. Daniel says, I'll try the tagliatelle al limone, please. And a glass of iced tea. The waiter smiles. Great choices. I'll be right back with your drinks. He walks away. Daniel looks around. This place feels peaceful. Emily says, I like restaurants that don't rush you. Some places make you feel like you have to eat fast and leave. Leo nods. Here, it feels like time slows down. You can actually talk. Daniel replies, that's what I need after this week. Meetings, emails, pressure. I just want to eat good food and breathe. 10 minutes later, the waiter returns with the drinks. Your food will be out shortly. Leo sips his water. Emily says, you know, I used to be nervous ordering food in English. Daniel looks surprised. Really? She nods. I'd panic, especially when they spoke fast. I'd just point to something and say, "This one." Leo says, "I used to do the same. I was afraid they'd ask questions I couldn't understand." Daniel laughs. "I still panic when they ask soup or salad." My brain freezes. They all laugh. Emily says, "But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes." Leo adds, "It's not about speaking perfectly. It's about staying calm." Daniel says, "Exactly. And learning phrases that work, like, 'Can I ask something?' Or 'What's in this dish?'" Just then, the waiter returns with a tray of hot food. "Here we go." He places each plate in front of them. "This is the spicy chicken pasta for you," he says to Emily. "Grilled salmon with vegetables for you," to Leo. "And tagliatelle al limone for you," to Daniel. Daniel looks at his plate. "This looks amazing. Almost too good to eat." Emily says, "That smell?" "Wow." Leo takes a bite and says, "This is perfect." They eat slowly, talk more, laugh often. Halfway through the meal, Daniel drops his fork. It lands with a loud clang on the floor. The waiter comes quickly. "Are you okay?" Daniel says, "Sorry, my hand slipped." "No problem," the waiter replies. "Let me bring you a clean fork." Leo says, "You handled that better than I would have." Daniel shrugs. "I've embarrassed myself so many times in restaurants, I stopped caring." Emily says, "That's the secret. Just enjoy the moment." The waiter returns with a new fork. "Here you go." "Thank you," Daniel says. After the meal, the waiter returns. "Would you like dessert?" Leo replies, "We're full, but maybe we'll share something." Emily asks, "What do you recommend?" The waiter says, "Our homemade chocolate lava cake is our most popular." Daniel says, "You had me at chocolate." They order one, share it, laugh about nothing, and smile more than they have all week. Later, the waiter brings the bill. Leo says, "I'll cover it." Emily and Daniel protest. "No way." Daniel says, "We split." Leo says, "Next time you can pay." They laugh again and agree. They leave the restaurant full, not just with food, but with peace. And as they walk under the streetlights, Leo says quietly, "You know, good food tastes even better with the right people." They all nod and walk home smiling. It's Sunday morning. Leo enters a local art gallery alone. It's quiet with soft music and sunlight pouring in through the large glass windows. He walks slowly from one painting to another, taking his time. This is how he resets his mind, by being surrounded by stillness and colors. At one of the larger abstract pieces, he hears someone next to him say softly, "Sometimes I look at art and feel nothing, and then one piece just stops me." Leo turns. A woman stands beside him, notebook in her hand, eyes focused on the painting. He nods and replies, "I know what you mean. This one, it feels like chaos, but soft." She smiles. "Exactly. Like a storm that doesn't want to destroy anything." There's a pause, comfortable silence. Then she says, "I'm Ava." Leo responds, "I'm Leo." "Nice to meet you." Ava says, "Do you come here often?" Leo replies, "Not often. Only when I need to hear myself think." She laughs lightly. "That's a good reason. I come here when I need to stop thinking." He smiles. "I guess we're opposites." She nods and gestures toward a bench. "Want to sit?" They sit side by side, not too close. Ava says, "So, Leo, what do you do?" "I mean, when you're not decoding paintings," he replies, "I work in marketing. I help companies tell better stories." She says, "Ah, a storyteller. That makes sense." Leo asks, "And you?" Ava says, "I'm a writer. Well, trying to be. I teach part-time and write when I can." Leo says, "That's brave." Ava looks surprised. "Brave?" He nods. "Telling your truth on paper? That's not easy." She thinks for a moment. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just afraid to speak out loud, so I write instead." He says, I used to be like that. I was afraid of speaking English, afraid people would judge my mistakes. She asks, what changed? Leo replies, I stopped chasing perfection. I started chasing connection. Ava leans forward. That's beautiful. Do you mind if I write that down? He laughs. Go ahead. She writes in her notebook, stop chasing perfection. Start chasing connection. Then she says, you seem comfortable with people. Leo replies, only after I stop trying to impress them. She smiles. Do you believe strangers can become friends in one conversation? He says, yes, if they're honest. She nods slowly. Ava says, I moved to this city 6 weeks ago. I don't know many people yet. Leo replies, well, you know one now. She looks at him. Thank you. That means more than you think. A brief silence. Leo says, so, what do you write about? She replies, real things. Silence, shame, small victories, conversations that don't go anywhere. People who feel too much. Leo says, that's what the world needs. She asks, what about you? Do you love your job? He pauses. I like it, but I love moments like this more, where two people meet for the first time and just talk. She smiles deeply. Ava says, you make it sound simple. Leo replies, it is. We just forget how. They sit there for another 10 minutes talking about everything and nothing, about books they love, places they miss, dreams they haven't told anyone else yet. Then Ava says, I should go. I have a class to teach. Leo stands up with her. Ava says, I'm glad I came today. Leo says, me too. Ava takes out a small card and hands it to him. My email, in case you want to share a story sometime. Leo takes it and says, I will. They smile. That quiet, grateful kind of smile. As she walks away, Leo watches her go, not with sadness, but with something peaceful inside him. Because sometimes in this world of busy schedules and loud distractions, two people pause long enough to say, I see you. And that's where friendship begins. It's Sunday evening. The house smells like warm food and fresh bread. The kitchen is full of sound. Dishes clinking, oven timer beeping, soft music playing in the background. Leo walks into the dining room carrying 2 bowls of salad. His mother is setting the table. His father is pouring water into the glasses. Emily, Leo's younger sister, walks in holding her phone and says, is dinner ready, or do I have time to post this picture? Leo smiles. Post it after dinner or you'll eat cold food. His mom chuckles. Emily says, fine, but food pictures get more likes when they're hot. They all sit. Leo's father says, all right, let's eat before it gets cold. They begin serving themselves quietly. Pasta, salad, roasted vegetables, and garlic bread. For a minute, there's silence. Then Leo's mom says, so, how's your work going? Leo replies, it's been a bit stressful, to be honest. A lot of deadlines. A new client came in last week. His dad asks, and are you handling it alone? Leo nods. For now, but I'm learning a lot. That's the good part. Emily says, you always say that even when things are falling apart. Leo replies, because that's how I survive them. His mom looks at him and says softly, you've become stronger. I see it. Leo smiles, but doesn't say anything. Then his dad says, I wish I'd spoken like you when I was younger. I was afraid to talk, afraid to be wrong. Leo looks up and says, I used to be like that too, especially in English. I'd stay quiet in meetings, not because I had nothing to say, but because I was scared to say it wrong. Emily asks, what changed? Leo replies, I stopped trying to sound perfect. I started trying to be real. His father nods and says, that's not easy, especially in front of people. Leo says, but silence was harder. It kept me small. I didn't want that anymore. His mom puts her hand gently on his and says, we're proud of you, not just because you work hard, but because you're becoming the kind of man people can trust. Emily says, and the kind of brother who always washes the dishes after dinner. Leo laughs. Let's not go too far. They all laugh together. Then Emily says, "You know what I love about these dinners?" Leo asks, "What?" She replies, "We sit, we talk. No phones, no rushing, just us." Their mother smiles. I wait for this all week. No matter how tired I am, I cook not because I have to, but because I know you'll all sit here and talk. That's what makes a house feel alive. Leo says, people don't realize how powerful dinner time is. His father adds, it's not about the food. It's about the space to breathe, to speak, to feel seen. They all go silent for a moment, the kind of silence that feels full, not empty. Then Emily says, I wish more families did this. Leo replies, maybe one day when we have our own families, we'll do the same. His mom says, teach your kids to listen, not just speak. His dad says, and tell them it's okay to speak slowly with mistakes, but with truth. Leo finishes his food and leans back in his chair. I used to think learning English was about grammar and vocabulary, but now I see it's about courage. His dad looks at him. And you found yours. Leo smiles. Still finding it, but every dinner like this helps. They all begin clearing the table, still talking, still laughing. Leo stands at the sink with Emily beside him, drying the plates. She says, remember when we used to fight about who would do the dishes? He replies, we still do. They laugh. Emily looks at him seriously. You're a good brother. I don't say that often. Leo says, you're not so bad yourself. And that's how the night ends. Not with fireworks, not with big moments, but with dishes, laughter, stories, and the quiet beauty of being home. It's Saturday afternoon. The weather outside is cool and perfect for walking. Inside the mall, the air is bright, clean, and full of energy. People talking, music playing, bags swinging in hands. Leo walks into a large international clothing store with his close friend Ava. She's looking for a dress. He's looking for nothing, but ends up finding something else. A sales associate greets them at the door with a smile. Welcome. Let us know if you need any help. Leo nods politely. Thanks. Just browsing for now. They start walking slowly through the store, past shelves of neatly folded shirts, racks of jackets, sections with shoes and accessories. Ava picks up a deep blue dress. She asks, what do you think? Leo replies, I think if you don't buy that dress, I might. She laughs. Flattery will get you nowhere. Then she points at a coat hanging on a nearby rack. You should try that one. Leo walks over and looks at it. A simple black coat, sharp, clean design. He touches the fabric and says, this actually feels nice. A store assistant appears nearby. Hi there. Would you like to try that on? Leo says, yeah. Is there a fitting room available? The assistant smiles. Yes, right this way. Leo follows her. The assistant opens a curtain. Let me know if you need another size, she says. Leo nods and steps in. A few minutes later, he steps out wearing the coat. Ava looks up and says, wow, that's it. That's your coat. Leo looks at the mirror. I'm not sure. She says, trust me, it fits your energy. He turns and checks the back, then says, okay, I actually like it. The assistant returns. How does it feel? She asks. Leo replies, good. A little snug around the shoulders. Do you have one size bigger? She says, let me check. While the assistant walks off, Leo and Ava sit on the small bench in the corner. Ava says, you're not used to shopping for yourself, are you? Leo shrugs. I never saw the point. As long as I'm clean, I'm fine. She smiles. But the way you dress also tells the world something. Leo replies, like what? Like how you see yourself. Leo goes quiet, then says, I guess I've always been afraid to be seen. Ava looks at him kindly. You're seen, and it's okay to dress like you belong. Before he can reply, the assistant returns. Here's the next size. Want to try it? Leo says, yeah, thank you. Leo tries the larger size. It fits better. He comes out and shows Ava. She says, that's it. That's you. Leo looks in the mirror again. This time he smiles, not because of the coat, but because of the moment. He turns to the assistant. I'll take it. She says, great. Would you like to pay here or at the front counter? Front counter is fine. Ava also carries 2 items in her hand. They walk to the front. The cashier smiles. Did you find everything you needed today? Leo says, yes, and maybe a little more. The cashier laughs. Would you like a bag? Yes, please. Would you like your receipt emailed or printed? Emailed is perfect, Leo says. They pay, grab their bags, and walk out. As they exit the mall, Ava says, you know, I think shopping is more than buying things. Leo asks, what is it then? She replies, it's choosing the version of yourself you want to show the world. Leo nods slowly. Then I hope the world's ready. They laugh and walk toward the sunset. It's 9:15 p.m. The city is quiet now. The noise has softened. The air is cool. Leo walks alone under the soft glow of streetlights. He wears a light jacket, his hands in his pockets, his phone on silent. He doesn't need music tonight. He just needs space. The streets are almost empty. A few people pass by. A man walking his dog. A woman on a phone call. A boy riding his bicycle with one hand. But Leo isn't watching them. He's listening to something quieter, himself. He whispers softly, you did well today. He keeps walking. You showed up. You were kind. You tried. That's enough. He looks up at the sky. The stars aren't visible, but the night still feels beautiful. He speaks again, gently, not loud, not weak, just honest. I know you're tired. I know you wish things were moving faster. I know there's still fear in your voice when you speak, but I also know you're not who you used to be. He turns the corner and passes a small bakery, closed now, the chairs stacked inside. He pauses and smiles. I remember when I couldn't even ask for coffee in English. I used to panic. I used to pretend I wasn't hungry just so I wouldn't have to speak. He laughs quietly to himself, then says, now I can order, ask questions, help others, share my thoughts, even when they're not perfect. He keeps walking. He sees a reflection of himself in a shop window. He stops and stares. Not with judgment, not with pride, just curiosity. You're growing. A deep breath. Some people don't see it. That's okay. Some days, even you don't feel it. That's okay, too. But step by step, word by word, sentence by sentence, you're building something. He takes out his phone, opens the Notes app, types day 176. I spoke without fear for 10 minutes with a stranger. She smiled. I smiled back. He locks the screen and puts it away. No need to share it on social media. No need to prove anything to the world. Some victories are quiet, but they matter. He keeps walking, passing a quiet park. A swing moves gently in the breeze. He says softly, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. You don't need big words. You just need real ones. And even if no one claps, no one sees, no one comments, keep going. He stops walking, looks around. It's peaceful, silent, safe. And in that moment, he says the sentence that has changed everything for him. I may be alone right now, but I'm not empty. I'm building something, and I'm proud. He stands there just for a moment, listening to the night, feeling the wind, knowing that his voice is no longer a stranger to him. Then he turns around and walks back home. Not faster, not slower, just steady, like someone who trusts the road. Now, thank you for watching till the end. Remember, learning English is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. You've already taken the first step. Keep going. Speak more. Think in English. Believe in yourself. Every small effort you make is building a new future for you. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be. So don't stop now. Your voice matters. Your dreams matter. And English will help you reach them. Subscribe to Native Explorer for more real-life English practice. We'll grow together one sentence at a time. See you in the next video. Take care and keep speaking.